Fallout 76 is the greatest game of all time.
No! Wait.
Love it or hate it, Fallout 76 is here to stay. But what if I were to tell you there once were completely different plans for a Fallout multiplayer experience? Today, we will be exploring the mysterious Project V13, a cancelled MMO that was being developed by Fallout's original creators. So, as always, grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy. It's the early 2000s. Following the success of both Fallout 1 and 2, a new vision for the franchise was pitched behind closed doors at Interplay Entertainment. In the early to mid 2000s, the world was experiencing a massive MMO boom, with games such as WoW, Evercrest, and RuneScape gaining massive popularity. An MMO would be perfect. Not only could Interplay catch this MMO wave, but this would be an excellent platform to expand the Fallout universe. Development would begin, with hints first reaching the public the same year. Now, it's important to take note that developing and maintaining an MMO is one of the most difficult and taxing ventures one can pursue in game development. However, if done correctly, the payout can be lucrative, both in player investment and economic return. Following the success of both Fallout 1 and 2 and the positive feedback received regarding its universe, the developers at Interplay believed it was well worth the risks. Both fans and media alike were hungry for more info. According to Interplay, Project V13 would contain the rich world space and loved mechanics of Fallout, all contained in an expansive, player-driven world. An ambitious goal for certain, so without delay, Interplay would begin concepting their vision. Development would begin on a high note, with Interplay including both Chris Taylor and Marco Green, who are veteran developers known for games such as Total Annihilation, Dungeon Siege, and of course the original Fallout titles. A great deal is unknown about the development of this project, however, let's unpack what we do know. Firstly, where would a game like this take place? Well, as an MMO, Interplay wanted Fallout Online to cover a great deal of the wasteland. Some locations we know were intended to be included are San Diego, The Glow, and Seattle. I find the inclusion of Seattle particularly interesting, as for a long time fans have requested this location as the center of a future Fallout title. They even created a fully colored concept image for this region. Could we possibly see the inclusion of Seattle in a future title? Well, who knows what Bethesda has planned. I also find the inclusion of the Glow interesting, because although we got to see the glowing sea in Fallout 4, this location was only the result of one bomb. Because the Glow was near the West Tech research facility, it was hit with multiple warhead strikes. I can't imagine what strange creatures lurk in its shadows, or what the landscape might look like. Now that we have an understanding of where this MMO might have taken place, let's try to unpack some of the planned gameplay mechanics. Unfortunately, details on mechanics are even more scarce. Considering that implementing mechanics is generally only conducted following the concept phase, the lack of information makes sense, as it's doubtful many gameplay mechanics reached prototyping. With that being said, we do know a bit about their plans. From what archived interviews and updates we have, Project V13 seems to be pretty similar to a lot of the other MMOs at the time. Real-time combat, crafting, settlement building, and factions are to name a few. I find the inclusion of settlement building particularly interesting because, as many of you know, we would later see this in Fallout 4, and prior to this in many fan-created mods. Is it possible that Bethesda got inspiration from Interplay to add this system? Or is it more likely that in a sandbox RPG like Fallout, the idea is only natural? Alongside these features, it was also heavily emphasized that the world would be player-driven, which I also find fascinating. We have seen some player-driven Fallout content in games like Arma 3 and Gmod. However, it is very interesting to think of a truly player-driven Fallout experience. And hold on, Fallout 76 fans, I'm not bashing the game itself. However, in my experience while playing 76, other players felt more like a novelty than an actual impactful entity in my journey. Unfortunately for Project V13, before more work could be complete, Interplay would begin to slip down the dangerous slope developing an MMO requires one travel. As I briefly mentioned before, MMOs are notoriously one of the most expensive and taxing projects a studio can undertake. Not only are developers required to create massive world spaces with dozens, even hundreds of engaging mechanics, but they also must maintain it all on live servers. The list of failed MMOs is a long one, and I would say it's fair to state that for every 100 MMOs that are developed, only 1 or 2 will ever see success in the long run. For example, look at the Worst MMO Ever series by Joshua Strife Hayes. Not to say that every title covered in this series is a failure, however, the fact that one can make so many fantastic videos on failed MMOs truly speaks to the grueling nature of the genre. Tangents aside, it is clear that Interplay underestimated the challenges that would come with development. Lack of resources and many funding hurdles would lead to slower development, which in turn led to scopes being shortened. I think it's fair to say that even if Fallout Online were to be released, it would only be a shell of its original ambition. Alongside funding, there is no doubt many technical challenges that were faced, as the game would require many complex systems to capture the nature of the series. In 2004, Bethesda would purchase the Fallout IP from Interplay for nearly $6 million. Adjusted for today's inflation, that's around $10 million. Despite losing the IP, Interplay had negotiated the rights to continue development of Fallout Online. This deal would allow for Interplay to survive, however, a partnership with Bethesda would mean a loss in full creative control as well as new deadlines. In an effort to push forward development, Interplay would partner with Masthead Studio in 2010. Unfortunately, just prior to this partnership, Bethesda had decided the investment was no longer viable. Wanting to take the IP in their own direction, they revoked the Fallout license from Interplay. There are a few theories as to why Interplay would continue development, even partner with another studio after receiving this cancellation. However, regardless of why, Bethesda was swift to initiate legal action. Bethesda would cite several conditions that were not being met by Interplay as a part of their agreement, as well as disagreements between the two companies in developmental direction. Unfortunately for Interplay, after selling the IP to Bethesda, they had given up all the power and were forced to remove all aspects of the Fallout IP from their project. Simply unwilling to just give up on decades of work, Interplay would continue the development under a new IP. Ditching Fallout, the game would be known as V13. Unfortunately for us, even fewer details are known about what a final product of this might look like. Unfortunately for Interplay, their glory days were far behind them. Following the cancellation of Project V13, in 2013, Interplay would sell their remaining intellectual property. As of recent, Interplay has worked on minor releases, such as when they worked on re-releasing Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance to modern consoles in co-op with Black Isle Studios. As we draw closer to the end of this investigation, I would like to explore some theory crafting. Entertain me for a moment as we ask the question, what if Interplay never sold Fallout to Bethesda? Well, the reality is Interplay made the decision to sell Fallout because they were struggling financially. The reality is, even if Interplay didn't sell Fallout, they most likely would have been bought by another company. However, for a moment, for the sake of this video, let's imagine a world where Interplay had all the funds that they required. Would Fallout V13 go down in history as one of the greatest MMOs, even games, of all time? As much as I adore Fallout, the odds are still against Interplay. Regardless of the current MMO wave, many companies were taking their shots at the genre. The battlefield was already dense with competition, and games like RuneScape and WoW had a jump start on devouring potential players. But as I said many times before, this really is just speculating and theory crafting for fun. It is entirely possible Fallout Online could have taken over the gaming scene. Who knows, instead of Fallout 3 and 4, we might have seen large expansion packs similar to World of Warcraft, but set in the Fallout universe. I mean, heck, we might have still even been playing it to this day. Unfortunately, like many theories, we will be forever left to ponder our own questions. Maybe one day we will get to see the return of Project V13. Well, that's pretty much it from me. I want to hear what you have to say though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Bethesda has done a good job with the series, or do you like the original Interplay games better? Personally, I enjoy both styles, but I am excited to hear your thoughts. Thank you, my friends, for taking the time to check out this video. If you enjoyed our discussion, why not leave me a like? I am always looking for ways to improve my content, so feel free to leave suggestions for changes and future topics below. If you're not already, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our next discussion. Thank you again, and I will see you next time.